Hey guys, and welcome to World of Warships with Wilvu. I have yet another subscriber replay for you today, and in this game we'll be featuring a Japanese destroyer that has got a very bad rep. It is the Tier 7 Hatsuharu, and many people don't like it, and quite frankly I'm not a big fan of it myself. And what you are about to see right now, I found it very educational, and I think that the Hatsuharu captain West 101 from the North American server has actually managed to teach me something in how to handle the Hatsuharu in battle. So as you can see, West 101 is starting a game in the northern side of the Land of Fire map, and it is a tier 7 match, so he is a top tier destroyer in this game. And there will be quite a lot of positioning and moving without much action at the beginning, so maybe fast forwarding some of this, but for now I just want to give you the general idea of what I think I learned from his play. So he's starting the northern side of the map, and he started on the slightly less favorable side of the map for a torpedo boat. There is quite a lot of islands on the way. They make torpedo runs much more difficult and much more tricky. So what West 101 is starting to do straight away is moving in to the center of the map. The Japanese destroyers have got the best detection range of all the destroyers in the game. So he's using the fact that he will spot anything else before he gets spotted himself, and he's basically circling around the center of the map to provide some early spotting for his team. As you can see, his team has split into two different groups, one of them going towards the east and the other towards the west. And during this whole time right now, West 101 is slowly inching towards the western side of the map, which is much more open, and it is much more promising for a torpedo boat to score some good hits. The most important thing in Hatsuharu gameplay, something that I have just learned from watching this replay right now, is your fire discipline. Your biggest strength is the fact that you are not being detected till later in the game. And if I remember correctly, Wes will encounter a Russian destroyer in a second. The Russian destroyer will be spotted by somebody else, and I have to say that I would be quite tempted to actually open fire on that destroyer. And it is quite impressive that West 101 actually managed to keep his cool and keep his priorities and not open up and not betray his own position. So he just spotted that Pensacola, and there's already friendly fire going in the Pensacola's direction. So he's still circling around. As you can see, he's considering a torpedo run on the Pensacola, but it is a cruiser, and it is an American cruiser. It's very agile, and this kind of torpedo runs, especially from maximum distance, are always a little bit iffy, and you know, those torpedoes would betray his position as well. So as you can see, the Kiev just popped up to the east, and as I said, I would be very, very tempted to open up on the Kiev, but I believe that this is a very good play by West 101, the fact that he actually withheld fire. Otherwise, that Pensacola to the south would have been in a very good position to open up on West and straight away put him in a disadvantage. So the first lesson you want to have from this replay is the fact that you really need to be very conscious of your own spotting range, spotting distance, and also you need to always weigh in whether or not it's okay to open up on your enemies with your guns, because that will betray your position. So The Hatsuharu. The Hatsuharu is a tier 7 destroyer, and it has 2 torpedo launchers of 3 torpedoes each, and also 2 turrets with 2 guns each, which is, I guess, the main reason why people don't really like it, because once you lose one of those turrets, that's half of your firepower gun. And those 2 torpedo launchers, they seem to be a big downgrade from people who have been sailing the Minikaze with those 3 launchers. I really like the 3 launchers setup, and I think it's a much more flexible one. I think you can achieve much more with this. So yeah, these are the reasons why people seem to struggle with the Hatsuharu, and I have to admit I'm not the best Hatsuharu captain myself. But if you watch this replay now, I believe that you will be able to learn something from it. So, as I said before, he kept his cool and he moved away from that Kiev and that Pensacola, which are now to the east of them. And it seems that he is slowly inching towards that group of battleships that are to the west. It's a nice and open field, and it provides a lot of space for torpedo runs. And as you can see, he's already trying his chances. He's already checking the speed and direction of the Congo. As you can see, the torpedo cone has been moving a little bit, so that meant that the Congo captain has been changing speed and direction, but he slowed down, and that kind of makes sense when you look at the map and you know that there is a group of ships, friendly ships to the north of that Congo, and I'm not surprised he slowed down and he wanted to you know, keep some distance between those ships and his own. So that's the first 2 torpedo spreads out, and he's got 48 seconds till the next reload. So he's doing the smart thing again, and he's moving north a little bit, just making sure that he won't get accidentally spotted by anyone. But as you can see in the top of the screen, his team is in a very good position right now because all of the enemy destroyers have been eradicated. So that allows him free reign basically, and yeah, that's his first 2 torpedo hits and 2 floodings, which is always good. 12 seconds till the next reload, and it looks that West 101 is already setting up for a next torpedo attack. So the Congo has just sped up. As you can see, the grey cone is moving slightly to the right of the screen, which means that Congo is still gaining speed. West 101 is waiting until the cone stops moving, and now he's launched another 2 spreads. The target has been slightly outside of his torpedo range, but because he is actually moving towards West 101's team, that means that if he won't change his direction, he will basically close that distance and make sure that the torpedoes are going to be in range to strike him. And as you can see, it seems that the torpedo run is going to be successful. The torpedoes look good, and he is now attempting to flank the enemy. 1, 2, and 3 torpedo. The third one wasn't even necessary to kill the Congo. So what he's doing right now, he's moving south, attempting to flank the enemy. I would expect the enemy battleships to start maneuvering, and this would create a really good position with that island to his west to basically do a surprise attack on the enemies. Looking at the team list, it seems that the game is more or less even at the moment, and it seems that the enemy fleet to the west is relentlessly pushing north, which meant that West 101 had to change his plans and change direction. He's going north now. And again, the Nagato is the next target. He's 11 kilometers away, but he is again moving towards West 101. So providing that the Nagato won't change his direction, those torpedoes should reach the target. And as far as torpedoes go, these are actually not that bad. They can pull off 62 knots, and that is quite a fast torpedo, and it's really hard to avoid, especially when you launch them the way he just did. So basically slightly from the front of the ship, kind of at an angle. That means that the Nagato has got the least amount of time to actually react to those torpedoes. And there we go. 1 and 2, and that's another 2 torpedo hits and 2 floodings. Now, the Cleveland ahead of him is clearly suicidal. He's been rushing 2 battleships and a cruiser on his own, and he's just going to die, which he basically deserves. But West 101 is not wasting any of his time, and he's 5 seconds away from reloading his torpedoes again. 7 kilometers this time, really close. I believe the spotting range of the Hatsuharu is somewhere in the area of 6.5 kilometers. And the island behind the Nagato is kind of creating an anvil and a hammer kind of a situation there, where obviously the torpedoes are the hammer. So he launched those torpedoes, and he's again moving away just to make sure that he won't get accidentally spotted, because that would give away not only his position but also give a hint to the battleship captain that there might be torpedoes on the way. And just look at that spread. I already know it's going to be a good hit. And there we go. 1 and 2, and the Nagato is gone. And that takes his total score so far up to 8 torpedo hits, 2 kills and 8 floodings as well. But while West 101 was doing all that, his team managed to basically get themselves killed, and the enemy team has got quite a big point advantage now. The fleet to the east has been almost completely eradicated, except for 1 cruiser who is seems to be intent on rushing that battleship to the south. And on this side of the map, there's only Mahan, which is hiding in smoke right now, and it's just about to launch torpedoes. And the battleship behind West 101. They're up against a half-health Nagato and a Königsberg. So he gets spotted right now, and I think this is the only misplay he does right now, because he saw the torpedoes coming in from Mahan, and you know, that was pretty easy to predict that the Nagato would change course the moment he would spot those torpedoes. So if it was me, I would have probably waited a little bit, or just used the fact that the Nagato was busy with avoiding those torpedoes, and basically rushed the Nagato and just killed it off with 1 torpedo spread. But that's just me double guessing him, and I'm not going to criticize him too much, because he is truly using the Hatsuharu to the maximum of its potential. So as you can see, he's constantly making sure that he's outside of his spotting range, which in fact seems to be 6.5 kilometers in his case as well. 23 seconds to the next torpedo run, and he is using his own smoke to make a torpedo run on the Nagato, or possibly the Königsberg. So in the meanwhile, the other 2 ships, the Mahan that was hiding in smoke and that cruiser that I mentioned before, got themselves killed. West 101 is launching another 2 spreads of torpedoes, but he is mindful of the distance to the Königsberg, which is again 6.5 right now, so he's just making sure that he won't get accidentally spotted. Unfortunately, the friendly battleship manages to pick off the remainder of the health of the Nagato, so his torpedoes are wasted. But by the looks of it, he had a pretty good chance of actually scoring a hit on the battleship himself. And again, he's making sure that he's just outside of the spotting range of the Königsberg. And here, if I was to double guess his performance, I would most definitely have repaired that gun earlier on, and I would have most definitely been firing on that Königsberg, because it seems that the Königsberg was much busier with firing at the Nagato, and that could have prolonged the life of that friendly battleship. So he opens up now and basically secures the kill. But I think it is a little bit too late for the battleship, and if I remember correctly, there will be some torpedoes going in that direction right now, and yeah, that's them coming in now. And that leaves West 101 in a 1 against 4 setup, and that's 3 cruisers and a battleship against him right now, so that's quite a serious position to be in, especially in the Hatsuharu, which is one of the weaker destroyers on the Japanese line, I think. The only thing that is working in his favor is the fact that both the cruisers that are spotted right now are on minimal health, and again, I would be really tempted to open up on one of them. But these are 2 extremely dangerous destroyer hunters. One of them is an Atlanta, and the other one a Cleveland. So I kind of understand his reluctance to actually open up, but as you can see, he is toying with the idea. He is definitely aiming at the Atlanta, and I believe that would be my choice as well. I would choose to shoot not only the closer target, but also the deadlier one, and I believe that at this distance the Atlanta is very deadly. So 6.7, 6.6, 6.5, he's spotted now. The Atlanta was, I guess, guessing that he was somewhere else, but now that he's spotted and he opened up on the Atlanta, the enemy is quickly adjusting course and opening up on him. But he's still got full health, so he can afford to take a couple of hits, and that's the Atlanta gone. So, just to make things worse, it seems that the enemy battleship has just entered the area and is moving in. And if I was to criticize West 101, which I'm really not trying to, this is another thing that he could have been a bit better about. He was very late to spot that the Cleveland was not only slowing down but also started reversing, and those couple of shots here, he could have killed that Cleveland right here now if his shot was a little bit better. And as I was watching this replay, I'm really rooting for him to actually kill that Cleveland. But I'm looking at the map and I see that goddamn battleship just moving in so close. And you should have seen me here. I was literally like, just Wes, just the battleship. Come on, like battleship, torpedo, battleship. Use your smoke. Anything. But he is persistent and he gets that low health Cleveland. He pops smoke immediately, and only now it seems that he is noticing how close that New York has been. And now, well, this is why people sail torpedo boats. This is precisely the reason why people do that. Just look at that, it's beautiful. 3 torpedo hits, and under 3, and a full health New York is erased, and that gives him the high caliber. Also a devastating strike, and a minute ago when he killed that Cleveland, he unleashed the Kraken. And I have a feeling that if it wasn't for the fact that there's only 20 seconds left in this game, I have a feeling that he would have got that final Cleveland as well. and that would have been a monster game. Unfortunately, he ran out of time, and this is the moment where I'm going to stop the replay and move on to the final battle results screen. But before we do that, I just wanted to say that I honestly think that I learned a lot from this replay, and I learned a lot from West 101 on how to use the Hatsuharu to the most of its abilities. And guys, one more thing, if you would like to learn a little bit more about torpedo boat gameplay, I strongly encourage you to check out my torpedo boats in ranked battles video, in which I cover 2 matches and sort of explain a little bit more about how to think when sailing Japanese torpedo boat. The link to this video should be popping up in the top right corner right now. And I also put this new knowledge to the test, so if you want, just keep watching, and right after this game I try to apply the knowledge I just gained from this replay into practice. So stay tuned, and before this happens, let's move on to the final battle results screen. Okay guys, so it's going to be no surprise to you to see that this has been an awesome game for West 101. 13 torpedo hits, 6 kills, 11 floodings, and the award list is very impressive as well. High caliber, devastating strike, and Kraken unleashed. This gave West 101 320,000 of profit and just over 2200 of experience. And that translates to the first place on his team and just under 1500 of base experience. And moving on to the damage dealt, West 101 wasn't using his guns very often, so the damage dealt is minimal, but 131,000 of torpedo damage is very impressive, especially in a torpedo boat that only has 2 torpedo launchers with 3 torpedoes in each one of them. As you can see, West 101 is running a premium account, and that gave him 290,000 of pure profit, and even if he wasn't, 183,000 would have been more than enough for me as well. So guys, as promised, I'm attaching another game to this replay, and this is a game that I literally had about half an hour ago. And I'm actually quite fortunate because I actually had a pretty decent chance of replicating the exact same thing West 101 did, because I start in the exact same position of the exact same map, and taught by his example, I decide to not rush the eastern side of the map, which is much more difficult for a torpedo boat to deal with, and I am moving towards the center of the map, shamelessly copying his idea of providing some early spotting for the team. And I want to move to the western side, which will hopefully give me the biggest chance of actually dealing some torpedo damage. 2 Fubukis and a Farragut on the enemy side. The Fubukis I'm not afraid of. The Farragut could be problematic if I was caught off guard in a close range. So again, the idea here is to remain unspotted for as long as possible, and this is going to be a little bit problematic with those carriers and their planes in the center of the map. So I'm very mindful of them, and I'm trying to figure out where the carrier is going to send his planes so that I could adjust course accordingly and with enough and early enough to actually avoid them. So it seems that I am teaming up with the Fubuki here, who has got a similar idea about what to do on this map, and we're slowly moving towards the western side of the map. But as you can see, those 2 fighter squadrons that are straight ahead of me are sort of problematic, so I'm still hesitant which way I should go around this island, left or right, just to be sure to not get spotted. But now it seems that the enemy fighters are moving south, so I think I'm free to go. And this is, again, this is what I learned from West 101. Otherwise, if it wasn't for his replay, I would have been very tempted to actually open up on the Fubuki right now. But because of what I learned from the replay, you just saw, I'm keeping my cool and maintaining firing discipline, and I'm slowly moving towards my first target, which is going to be hopefully a battleship. You saw me checking my torpedo range a second ago. I just wanted to make sure that I've got the 10-kilometer torpedoes on this ship. I haven't sailed it for a while, so I'm just making sure that this is the range that I need to be in to do a successful attack. So the North Carolina that was moving in seems to have turned away, and that basically took it off my target list for the moment. But there is another one 10.5 kilometers away, and he is moving at full speed, and I'm preparing to launch my torpedoes, but I'm mindful of that spotter plane from the Miyoko, so I'm still waiting a little bit, as long as I can, in order to make sure that the spotter plane has got the smallest chance to actually spot the torpedoes on their way towards the North Carolina. I'm being spotted by a plane, and I'm moving away from the plane to disappear as quickly as possible. And I'm just checking if my torpedoes are running true, and it seems that I have a decent chance of actually getting a hit or two. So I'm already looking for another target, and I'm thinking about that New Mexico that is moving straight north. And this is the moment where I get my first 3 torpedo hits and take off around 36,000 of the health of that North Carolina, which is really good. No floodings though, which is a bit disappointing. But this is the moment where I get spotted by the Fubuki, and I feel that with all those guns pointed in my direction, it is a good time to actually pop smoke and start maneuvering. Spread that smoke screen a little bit more, because I want to have the option of actually using it as a staging area. And this is my dead moment. This is the moment where I completely lose my situational awareness and almost run into this island. But I drop my speed to make a hard turn, and that makes my destroyer turn much tighter, and I get stuck on an island just for a tiny moment. It's a big misplay, and I'm actually surprised that I got away with it. And that's where I noticed the torpedoes coming in, so again I drop speed, make a hard turn, and just pray that my ship will turn fast enough to actually avoid them. 4.6 kilometers, that is very, very close, and I'm surprised that the Fubuki is not opening up on me. And this is another lesson that I could add to the one that Western 101 has given us all. Your guns may not have the best array. You know, your guns may be only set in 2 turrets, and they are easy to destroy. So, you know, as a Hatsuharu captain, you don't really count on dealing much of gun damage. But as you will see in this replay, you should not discount those guns, because these are really good guns. As long as you can get them on target and surprise your enemies, you can actually fight destroyers with them, and you really shouldn't forget that. But before this happens, I'm spotting another chance to actually do a torpedo run on the North Carolina, which is moving south now. But I'm looking at the map, and it seems that North Carolina is actually turning away, and there's also friendly torpedoes in the water, and that kinda makes me reluctant to actually launch mine, because the movement of those ships is unpredictable at the moment. You really can't figure out which way they're gonna go. So I forget about the North Carolina and take the New Mexico on aim. It seems that the New Mexico is playing it very safe, and you know, he is so far away that I really do not expect him to expect torpedoes coming in. And this is the moment where I mentioned before, that's when I open up on the Fubuki, and just look at this, just one salvo, 2,500 damage. Another salvo, just under 1,400. And somebody else is shooting the Fubuki as well. One more shot. And I am risking it here quite a lot. I slowed down on purpose. I just wanted to throw the aim of any cruiser that would be in the area. And that was the reason why I actually stopped. But this is where I get a massive hit from the New Mexico. And I instantly pop smoke. Completely accidentally managed to avoid some torpedoes from the cruiser ahead of me. And that's another 3 torpedo hits. 3 floodings and an incapacitation as well. So I'm hiding in this smoke right now, and I'm very aware of the fact that I'm sort of actually surrounded by enemies. So I use the fact that the Miyako was 8.2 kilometers away. That gave me an idea of that gave me the reassurance that I have a chance of not getting spotted the moment I get out of the smoke. And I'm thinking now, okay, I've got torpedoes reloaded, maybe I should do another torpedo run on one of those ships. And these are all cruisers and they're all very maneuverable. And it's really hard for me to predict which way they're gonna go, so I give up on that idea. And decide that the North Carolina to my south is going to be much better target. So I'm hoping that the North Carolina is going to turn so that he puts himself between the island and me. But I'm observing the map, and I'm also use the scope now just to make sure. And it seems that the North Carolina is trying to play it safe, and he is moving actually south to hide behind that island. So what I'm planning to do now is to get on the other side of the island as quickly as possible, and hopefully either spot and torpedo the North Carolina from a distance, or just sneak up on it and do a very quick surprise torpedo run on the battleship. But unfortunately, the same place where that battleship is where the enemy carrier is, so there is quite a lot of air traffic above me. And I get spotted once. That gives a really good idea about my position to both the North Carolina I was targeting and that cruiser which is behind me, the Miyako. So as you can see, I'm ready to launch my torpedoes the moment I start spotting the North Carolina again. I do not want to enter the enemy cap because this would give my position away and would actually encourage enemies to move my way. And this is the moment when the torpedo cone from the North Carolina appears. But I look at the map and I see that the North Carolina is actually turning south, and that makes it completely pointless to launch those torpedoes because they will be avoided and the North Carolina is maneuvering. So I'm thinking now, okay, so maybe I'll manage to do a torpedo run on the Miyako, and this is the moment where I spot all those planes homing in on my position, and I know that I have very little chances of actually surviving this. So I'm just checking if that dive bomber squad is actually attacking me, and the moment they turn, I drop smoke and lose all my speed, and basically pray that the Miyako is going to rush me. Fortunately, the fighter planes to my north, friendly fighter planes, are spotting the Miyako for me. So I can still keep hiding in smoke and have the benefit of knowing which way the Miyako is going. So I launch one torpedo spread, and I am expecting the Miyako to avoid them. It seems that the Miyako is actually using sonar because of how early he spotted them and started reacting. So I'm smoked now, unspotted, and I open up on Miyako, and I really know that I'm just about to die. There's very little chance I'm gonna be successful in fighting a Miyako that knows that I'm here and is ready to react. So he's feigning a turn, and I'm not falling for it. I'm still keeping my firing discipline, and the moment he does the other turn, I'm expecting him to actually torpedo me. So continue his turn and attack me, but he is much smarter than that, and I've got 20 seconds left till the other torpedoes are ready, and there's very little chance for me to actually survive this. So what I want to do, I want to present as small a target as possible to the Miyako by pointing my the rear of my ship towards it. But he gets a really good hit on me, and yeah, this is the moment where I die. So, guys, I'm not going to go through the rest of this replay for you because it is quite a weird one. The remainder of my fleet is fighting a destroyer which seems to be to the northeast, threatening the friendly carrier. So they will concentrate on just securing that position and, you know, securing their safety before moving on. And as I said, I'm going to save you the wait and just move on to the final battle result screen. Fortunately for me, the friendly team actually managed to win this game by points. Okay, so as you can see, this hasn't been a monster game for me, but I believe that I actually have learned something from West 101's gameplay about how to go around in being a successful Hatsuharu captain. So this game gave me 21 hits on targets by guns and 6 torpedo hits with only 3 floodings. It also gave me just under 3,000 of experience and 124,000 of profit. This has secured the first place on the team list with just under 1,500 of base experience, so similar to West 101's result. And I have dealt a little bit more gun damage than he did, which is just over 10,000. And out of the 18 torpedoes that I launched, 6 have hit the target and gave me 65,000 of torpedo damage. Now, for the last couple of weeks, I haven't been running a premium account, and that shows in the final profit tab. This game gave me 73,000 of profit after all the refits and repairs. So, guys, just a quick recap to give you a few pointers on what I learned from West 101's gameplay and what you can actually take away from this to improve your Hatsuharu gameplay. You have to be a bit more timid than with other destroyers. You have to always make sure that you know where and how far away your enemies are. Try to stay unspotted for as long as possible. Keep your firing discipline and use your guns when you think you have either no choice or you have a very good chance of killing the enemy you're aiming at. And also try to find spaces in the map that are a bit more open and put yourself in the mind of the enemy battleship captains, and, you know, try to figure out when would they turn, when would they be pushing ahead in a straight line. Be mindful of planes above you and the fact that they will reveal your position, so try to plan ahead, and if you see any, try to move away from the area, because the planes above you are basically, they mean death to your destroyer. So guys, I hope that you actually managed to learn something from West 101's gameplay. It was truly an impressive match, and I was really devastated to see that he was only seconds away of actually securing a win for his team. I truly believe that he would have won this. And also, I hope that you've been entertained by this replay, and if you did like what you just saw, please do give this video a like down below. It helps the channel out immensely, motivating me to come up with new content. And also think about hitting the subscribe button in the top right corner if you haven't done so yet. And all I'm going to say right now is thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the open seas.